So here we have the sagittal section of the head. Okay. So now here you can see from above to down. I will just give you a brief about all the structures that you can identify. You can see the scalp, you can see, then you can see the cranium, you can see, and you can also see the coverings. So the dura mater, which has two folds, it is, it has got many modifications. One of them is falx cerebri. So this is the falx cerebri. The other half has gone with other section. And this is the falx cerebri. It has got an attached border here, and it has got a free border on the other side. Okay, so that is inferior and this is superior. So you should remember the front end is the attachment with the frontal crest and vista galli. At the back here you have internal occipital protuberance. And here there are many sinuses which are lodged within the falx cerebri. You can see this blue one is the superior sagittal sinus. Similarly, inferior border lodges the inferior sagittal sinus. And here will be the straight sinus, and here will be the occipital sinus. And on the sides will be the transverse sinus. Okay, so the meeting point of all these sinuses is known as confluence of sinus. Okay, so this part. So this above is the occipital lobe of the cerebrum. Then there will be parietal lobe, the frontal lobe, and here there will be a septum that covers the ventricles, that is called septum pellucidum. What is this called? Thin membrane septum pellucidum. It has just gone, it is just ripped off. So this portion that looks like white matter, that is known as corpus callosum. That is one of the biggest examples for the projection fibers, okay, which project the information coming from here to right and left. It connects the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So, okay, so that is known as corpus callosum. It has different parts. We'll come to that when we talk about neuroanatomy. So now behind that here, what you see is the lateral ventricle. There is a right side and a left side lateral ventricles. Okay, so now here you can see the tentorium cerebelli, you can see the falx cerebelli, and you can see the different parts of the brain stem, and here will be the thalamus, and front here will be the hypothalamus, and then this one is the cerebellum, and this is the fourth ventricle, and this bulged portion is known as pons. So just above the pons will be the midbrain. So midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Okay, so this is the midbrain, this is the pons and medulla oblongata. So here you can see a vessel that is known as the vertebral artery. The right side and left side of the vertebral arteries join together to form the basilar artery. So this will be the formation of the basilar artery. You can see the cut end, no? Here will be the other side of the vertebral artery. Okay, so it is coming from both the sides of the spinal cord. You can, if you just dig it a little bit, you can see one here, one on the other side. So two vertebral arteries entered through the foramen magnum. Okay, so there is four parts for the vertebral artery, which is a branch from the subclavian artery. So it will ascend upwards, and at the level of C6 vertebrae, it will, turn to the suboccipital triangle. So one of the content of suboccipital triangle is the vertebral artery. Which part? The fourth part. Okay, then it enters the foramen magnum, goes up, and then both the sides join together to form the basilar artery, which gives many pontine branches. Ultimately, it contributes to the circle of Willis along with the internal carotid artery. This is part of the circle of Willis. Can you see here? Okay, so internal carotid artery and the vertebral artery together, they contribute to formation of the circle of Willis, which supplies the structures in the brain and the spinal cord, and as well as the cerebellum. Alright, so now coming to this one, I said this is midbrain, pons, and the medulla oblongata. You can see here, this is the vertebrae. You can also see intervertebral discs, you can see. So the one which is like this, elevated, is known as odontoid process of the second cervical vertebra, which is axis. The one which looks like this, a portion is seen, that is the first cervical vertebra, that is atlas. Okay, so this is the atlanto-axial joint. So in front of that you can see that there is this something that droops down, that is known as clivus, and this is the sphenoidal air sinus. Alright, this is the sphenoidal air sinus. Similarly, you have here the ethmoidal air sinuses. So you can see the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone contributing to the nasal septum. You can also see the vomer. You can also see the septal cartilage, and part of this front portion is known as vestibule of the nose. Okay, so now here you can see the frontal air sinus. So if it is not seen very well here, you should be able to find the entire thing on the other side. So either it will be here or in the other section. Okay, this is the frontal air sinus. So frontal air sinus, ethmoidal air sinus, and the sphenoidal air sinus. And on the cheeks, on the other side of the lateral wall of the nose, you should be able to see the maxillary air sinus. So all these drain into where? The lateral wall of the nose. Okay, that is the nasal septum. If you break open this, you will see the lateral wall of the nose. If you break open this, on the other side, you should be able to see the maxillary air sinus. So here in this portion, you can see the superior concha, middle concha, which are together, and there is an inferior concha, which is a separate bone. Okay, so between that, whatever gap you can see, these are called meatus, meatus, meatus. This is the superior meatus, middle meatus, and inferior meatus. Now the question is, what is just below this region known as? That is known as sphenoidal. What is this called? Rhesus. Okay, this is called rhesus. Sphenoethmoidal rhesus. Now here this portion is sphenoidal, the superior meatus. So here what opens is this one, the sphenoidal air sinus opens into this. In this region, the posterior ethmoidal air sinus opens, and this is the middle meatus. If you lift this, you should be able to see one, just focus here. Can you see that line? Can you see that line there? One slit like thing? That is known as semilunar hiatus. Yes, semilunar hiatus. So that is there, and above that you can see one small elevation. That elevation is known as ethmoid bulla. Okay, so here in this place you can see, you can remember this from front to back as FMAM. One M should be on the ethmoid bulla. Okay, so now here you have frontal air sinus, there is maxillary air sinus, and also anterior ethmoidal air sinus. And on the ethmoidal air bulla, you can ethmoid bulla, you can say there is middle ethmoidal air sinus opening. Okay, it is all coming from all these air sinuses. It has to drain its content into the nasal cavity. So this is one way of draining its content into this. That's why this area stays moisturized. Okay, so this, if you lift this only, you will be able to see, otherwise you can't see. Alright, so that is the middle meatus. Now here if you just push this down, you should be able to see one opening below this inferior meatus, and that is for the nasolacrimal duct. Okay, so nasolacrimal duct opening that comes from the lacrimal bone. Into that there is a duct is there. There is a canal is there, and there is a duct, and that opens into the inferior meatus. That is the only opening that is present in the inferior meatus. If there is any cleft in the facial deformity, if it is present, or if there is any oblique facial cleft, then this nasolacrimal duct will be absent. Okay, it will be absent. Any facial deformity, then there is a chance that this duct could be blocked or it is not formed. Okay, that you should remember. Next you have, here we can say that this portion, in this one you can see it better. See here, this is the nasal septum, this is the anterior nares. Alright, so here this is the posterior opening, that is called cornea. What is it called? Cornea. So this one is posterior nares, this is the anterior nares. So now this portion behind this is known as nasopharynx. Nasopharynx. It starts at the base of the brain or C1 vertebra, and it goes up to the cricoid cartilage, which is at the level of C6 vertebra. So this is about 12 centimeters in length. So this entire thing you trace. Just watch where my forceps is going. From here it comes down and up to this slit. Okay, this is known as the pharynx. Pharynx is divided into nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. So nasopharynx is from the base of the brain up to the soft palate, and the oropharynx is from the soft palate up to the epiglottis, and the hypopharynx or laryngopharynx is from the epiglottis up to the cricoid cartilage. Understood? So this is divided into three portions. Now here, coming to the nasopharynx, you should be observing two things. One is there is one opening. This opening you can see. That opening is known as auditory tube opening. What is it called? auditory tube opening. There are two elevations. In front of that there is an elevation, behind that there is a elevation. Okay, one elevation in front is known as salpingo-palatine, because of the salpingo-palatine fold that is called. The one behind is known as salpingo-pharyngeal fold. Okay, salpingo-pharyngeal fold is present here, salpingo-palatine fold is present here. This one is because of the levator veli palatini muscle. Okay, what muscle? Levator veli palatini muscle. And this one is because of salpingopharyngeus muscle. Understood? So this one is supplied by salpingopharyngeus is supplied by which nerve? Ninth cranial nerve. And the one in front, that levator veli palatini muscle is present in front, that is supplied by pharyngeal plexus, which is the 10th cranial nerve. So between these two folds, whatever that comma shaped opening you see, that is known as eustachian tube opening. And from here, if there is any infection, it goes to your middle ear. Understood? And it causes a condition called otitis media. Okay, so that you should remember. That is eustachian tube opening. What is the length of the eustachian tube? 36 millimeters. Okay, so now that is again divided into cartilaginous part and bony part and all that we have talked about. So what opens here into the nasopharynx is cartilaginous part, and it is elastic cartilage. That you should remember. So that is the only highlight of this area, nasopharynx. And above that, can you see some blue structures? What are these called? What are these called? They are called pharyngeal tonsils. Okay. So in case of there is any infection or any abnormal growth, they are known as adenoids. Otherwise, it is called pharyngeal tonsils. So you can see aggregation of lymphocytes. You can see this causes modulation in the voice quality. So voice will not be clear. It will have that nasal voice. That is because of the formation of adenoids. Okay, which is nothing but swollen nasopharyngeal tonsils. So now here coming down, you can see the soft palate. So this portion is known as oropharynx, and here you can see, actually you can see two folds. You can see there is in this one probably we can see here. Yeah, here we can see. Okay, so here there are two folds, and here also we can't see. We'll have to lift the tongue, then we'll be able to see. There is a fossa for the tonsil. Which tonsil? Palatine tonsil. Okay, palate, you should remember, it is in the oral cavity. So palatopharyngeal, palatoglossal folds. Between that there is palatine tonsil lodged. Okay, so if you push the tongue, you should be able to see in this area. That is not seen. I will have to use my gloves and use both the hands to show that. So that is present. That's the only highlight of this area. Okay. Next, coming down, this is the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis, and here you can see this is the inlet of the larynx. This epiglottis where it is present now. This is the larynx, and you can see this is the inlet of the larynx. This is where exactly I have placed my forceps. And here you can see one small slit, and that is known as, what is that known as? Sinus of larynx. And this fold is called aryepiglottic fold. What is it? Aryepiglottic fold. So this is about the nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx. Okay, this is tongue. As you can see the hard palate, you can see the soft palate, and you can, coming down here, you can see the mandible section, you can see, and coming down you can see one more bony projection, that is the hyoid bone. Hyoid bone here, this is the mandible. So what muscle you can identify is the genioglossus and hyoglossus muscle. This is hyoglossus and genioglossus muscles. We'll talk about it when we talk in, when we give a lecture on tongue. Alright, so did you understand this? Fine? Okay, so now here also same things you can identify. You can see that there is midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, which continues down as the spinal cord. So you can also see the spinous process of all these vertebrae. You can see these are all cervical vertebrae. So you can also identify the 7th cervical vertebrae, which has got a nice spinous process, which is called vertebra prominens. What is the first one called? Atlas. Second one is called axis. 7th one is called vertebra prominens. So these are the 3 atypical ones. Remaining are all typical ones. Okay. So here this portion has loaded with muscles. What is this area called? Which triangle is this? Suboccipital triangle. Suboccipital triangle. Okay, suboccipital triangle is this one. This is the external occipital protuberance. Similarly, here you can see here. See, this is the internal occipital protuberance, and in front of that gap you can see now that is the confluence of sinus. Tentorium you can see, falx you can identify, and you can also see the cerebrum with the sulci and the gyri you can see. This is the lateral ventricle, corpus callosum, and let's see if we can identify any other structures here. I think that's it. We have got everything. Yeah.